Hi, I'm Andrei Larionov, Director of Economical Solutions Corporation. This is a companion video to our Impact Etching Machine manuals, which talks about creating your first etching. It is a very quick guide on how to get your first etching job done. We will cut some corners just to make sure that you are getting familiar with the machine and you start using it as soon as possible. That is probably the best way to learn how to use it. So before we start, I would like to talk about transporting the machine and which surfaces are safe to lift the machine by. As you can see, our machine is a highly complex technological product which is made of German-sourced linear drives or actuators. Those actuators are of ball screw type, and you can see them here. Obviously, you should never grab the machine or touch the surfaces of those actuators. So this is one actuator, another one goes underneath here, and also there's slides. So this is the surface on which the machine slides. Likewise, you should never touch the surfaces either. And also this aluminum bar, which is also part of the precision machine assembly. Please don't lift the machine by this aluminum bar. So now you wonder which surfaces are safe to grab and lift machine by. This bar is safe, so that's actually meant for you to lift the machine by. This metal bars at the machine's base are also safe, so it's okay to grab the machine by those metal bars as you lift it. And this particular cover is also safe. You can grab the machine by this cover as you lift it. Now let's talk about positioning your tile, your granite tile, for your first etching. During the entire etching process, it's very important that our machine and the material that it etches on don't move against each other. As we told you in our manual, we recommend that you use the standard 12 by 12 tile, which can be found in any home improvement store, for all your proofs and all your testing. It is absolutely sufficient, it's cheap, and if you mess up something, it's not a big deal. It's as long as it's black granite and as long as it's polished. Don't use any ceramic tile, because ceramic tile is not a good representative of the etching on the black granite. So in case you put your machine on some kind of table, or as the case here is a countertop, you would just expect to put a tile inside of the machine's frame, which is perfectly okay. The only problem is, as machine etches, you see how easily this tile slides on the surface of the table or countertop, as the case here. There's a small trick to prevent that. What we use some kind of tissue, which can be as simple as paper towel, or in my case it's some kind of synthetic microfiber. The key is that it's thin. It should not be thick. So we just make it a little bit damp, and I'm going to show you how I'm doing it now. So the task of making your tissue damp is actually very simple. You just wet it, make sure it's not dripping wet, and you press out the water. Okay? If it's a little bit damp, it will actually hold your tile very, very well. So I have put my microfiber towel underneath, and now I'm placing my granite tile on top of it, and also trying to align it along the edges of along the axis of the machine, so that it's in parallel. And now if you try to shift it, it's actually way more stable, particularly if you press down a little bit on it. it will not really shift that much when it will not shift at all, let me put it this way, when the etching is ongoing. One more thing to check is obviously not all of the tiles are perfectly flat on the other side, so just make sure it doesn't wobble. Just press along its edges to make sure it's firm. It will not move in this direction. Now the next thing to do is to turn your machine on and plug it into your computer. Let's do that. So it's quite obvious. You just plug the power cable, then you plug the USB cable into this middle outlet, and the other side of USB cable goes into your computer, which is by now turned on. Then you flip the switch, and at this time you would have to wait for the machine to initialize. Just notice this indicator on top of the etcher. It's blinking now. That means the operating system, firmware, and all of the other hard to understand things are happening within this box. When all the software is loaded and machine is started, this indicator will start lighting solid green. You would have to wait until that happens. Okay, after a couple of minutes the machine is started, and you can see that this indicator is now solid green. Now it's time to go and launch eControl Studio and start our first etching. I'm now showing you my computer screen, and we're now going to start eControl Engraving Studio. If you have installed everything correctly, the installer program will have created the icon on your desktop. Just make sure, if you also previously copied this setup file onto your desktop, make sure you don't launch it by an accident. And you launch instead the icon called eControl Engraving Studio. So I'm double-clicking to launch it. If you use Windows 10, at this point it might ask you if you want to launch this program. Just say yes. If everything is configured correctly and the driver is installed, you will see that this particular button, the one I'm pointing my mouse at, Control Panel, is green. And also you will see that tab to the left of it. That is a very good sign, which means that eControl Engraving Studio can see your etching machine. The next thing to do is to initialize the etcher and then position the etching head. Click the button called Control Panel, and then you are supposed to click the button called Initialize. Let me quickly explain what initialization does and why it's important. Pretty much all of the CNC machines require that the etching head, once they're launched, is once moved to its home position so that it can hit the end switches and it will know where its 0 point for all of its axis is. It is a bit technical and probably more than you want to know at this point, but the idea is once you turned on the machine, you should always initialize it first. When you click Initialize button, you would first need to know that there's nothing inside of the machine's frame that would prevent the etching head from moving to the beginning of its axis, to the 0 point. So when I'm clicking Initialize, the etching head moves to its home position, which is in the left top corner of the machine's field. And from my previous, in case you wonder where the top of the etching machine is, it's right here where the control panel is located. So whenever you see the image oriented in a certain way on your computer, the top of the image matches the top of the machine. Now let's open the file for etching. We go File, Open from the menu. On your desktop, locate the file that was put there by the installation program called test.jpg. Once you open the file, let us select the material configuration that this particular image will be etched with. Please select the one that's called Default Jarvis 127 DPI. That's the one that should come with your machine. Let's enter the width and height of our future etching. I'm going to enter 8 inches wide, and the height is calculated automatically to preserve the aspect ratio. The next thing to do is to click this particular button, which is called Match Canvas to Image Size. Once you become more advanced user of eControl, you'll understand what this particular button does. For now, let's just press it and be done with it. You can also click the button that I'm doing right now. It will show the entire image on the screen. Then we'll just click the play button. In here, it's very important to check that the size of the image as we entered is correct, and that bottom left corner is selected as the starting point of your future etching. You can also see the estimated time of this etching job, and you just press Start. It takes the program some time to prepare the image and to calculate it and everything. Then we'll send it to the machine, and as you can see, machine starts etching.